Hi everyone, Thals here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Planet of the Daleks, which follows on from where the previous story, Frontier in Space, which I reviewed last week, left off. So, yeah, that's the general idea of the story. It's quite interesting because it could, in a way, be viewed as a 12-parter, but they are only loosely connected, really. And you really can see that they were kind of written as very separate stories, especially this one. This one can easily stand on its own, I think. And it barely does have any references to it, so yeah. I think this story does get a fair bit of hate for its unoriginal ideas, in the sense that it copies a lot of what happened in the original Dalek story. Terry Nation wrote the Daleks, his first one. And yeah, it kind of does. There are a lot of similarities, like the Thals being there, the whole city concept, going up the shaft is very much like going up the elevator and whatnot. Character going inside a Dalek and everything. It always very much similar, but I think I'm going to try and defend it like this, because that doesn't really annoy me that much, but I'm going to defend it. Because basically, this story that Dalek story was on 10 years before this, or 9 or so. 9 or 10 years in between there. That's how long ago there has been since the Daleks, when compared to this. And yeah, that is a long time. So fans wouldn't... So 6-year-olds who were watching it back then would now be 15 or 16 now. So yeah, it's very much kind of like it. And it was only shown once, so would they really remember it? And would it really have been intended for it to ever have been repeated, really? Because back then it was usually just shown once. And I think now, because we've got DVDs and everything, people mark it down because of that, when really, if you get perspective, it's not really that bad. But yeah, so it's not great that it copies ideas from that, but I think it's also part of the 10th anniversary year, so you could kind of pass it as that and see it as a 10th anniversary story in a way. So yeah, that's that part done of it. Okay, now one part that does annoy me is, I know that Terry Nation did this with practically all of the scripts, revealing the Daleks at the end of episode 1. But with this, was that really necessary? Because they built up a surprise. And kind of like, then the Doctor is utterly surprised when he sprays the, what's it called, to reveal a Dalek, when, well, yeah, should he really be surprised by that? Because he knew he was following the Daleks there, because of what happened in the last part of Frontier in Space. He was sent to follow the Daleks and whatnot. So he should have known that that was a Dalek. And also, we as an audience know, because we saw the last part of Frontier in Space. And also, the title is Planet of the Daleks. So I don't see why the insistence on this was to keep it as a shock cliffhanger to episode 1. I mean, you can still have a Dalek cliffhanger to episode 1. But I don't really see the need to keep that a surprise so much. I think they have it in all of the stories of Terry Nation wrote, really. But in this one, I feel more than any other, it doesn't work at all. So yeah, there's that. Other parts I do quite like. Yeah, the jungle set is very well done. That is amazing. The story itself isn't bad whatsoever. Sure, it's got a bit repetitive. Not repetitive, but sure, it's kind of like unoriginal ideas, but still, I think it works. It does have a bit of padding in some places, but still, I think the ice volcano is a very smart idea. The plane of stones was a very good idea as well, and I love the sequence there where they pushed the Daleks in. Now, also for me, this story does kind of like, not necessarily hold a special place, but basically, I had the Frontier in Space in video format for ages, and there's always kind of like been that air of mystery to me about Planet of the Daleks. So when I finally got the DVD release and watched Planet of the Daleks, I think I remember feeling a little bit disappointed. I didn't really shape up to my expectations, but still, I guess that kind of happens with any story like that. And overall, I think I've come to accept it as quite a good story, really. It's not amazing, but it's still quite a good story. I did kind of go through a stage of denial, thinking it is amazing and couldn't find any flaws in it, but I think now, after a while, I have found a few flaws in it, and some of which I've already pointed out. So, yeah. The characters in this are quite good, I think, as well. So you mainly got the Thals with them, and they do quite well. There is a romance between Joe and Lartep, I think it is, which again is a bit copying from the Daleks, but I'm not sure if that really was necessary, because it felt really forced that these characters who only interacted for 3 episodes, really. There was no... They just seemed to hold hands instantly and whatnot, and it just didn't feel right to me. And given what happens in the next story, The Green Death, when Joe leaves, it just feels even more pointless and odd. But yeah, anyway, there's that. So, I think that's quite a bad part of that story. But it doesn't really detract a whole lot. It's just utterly pointless, really. And there could have been time spent doing something else. The Dalek Supreme, its lights are totally off. Which is odd, really, because it's totally out of sync when all the other Daleks are fine, for the most part. The Daleks themselves are good in this. I think the whole bacteria kind of like bomb plot, not bomb, but the whole thing about the bacteria, that was good. That was well done. So, yeah, I think overall, it's a pretty well done story. It's not amazing, it's not the best Dalek story ever, but I do think it is a good story, and that's why I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10 overall. So yeah, I'm going to stick by that 8 out of 10. And despite its flaws, it is a fun Dalek romp. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's just kind of like a fun story to watch. It's not particularly amazing, but it's not boring by any means. So yeah, I think that'll do for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Next week will probably be the review of The Mind Robber, second Doctor story. So yeah, thanks for watching this review, everyone, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye, everyone.